Hey folks, happy Saturday to you. We continue our pastor's devotional series, Saturday, March 27th. Help me to always seek to know you better. Help me to always seek to know you better. You know, I was thinking about the scripture from yesterday that I used about Peter, or about Jesus being in the garden and arrested, or maybe that was a couple days ago. Anyways, about this week in Jesus' life. And one of the days we were in the garden with him, and he was praying that God's will would be done. Not my will, but your will. And it reminds me of this. That's a first scripture that came to mind again. And so what I want us to do is focus on a prayer today that Jesus might have been praying in addition to that is really about seeking to know God's will better. And that is found in Matthew chapter 6. Matthew chapter 6, verse 9 is where we find what we call the Lord's Prayer. Now, I'm reading from the New Revised Standard Version, which means it's a little bit different than traditionally as we have said the Lord's Prayer, but this is a scripture that it comes from. Pray then in this way, Jesus says, Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we have forgiven our debtors. And do not bring us to the time of trial, but rescue us from the evil one. So there's so much in that prayer that is about discerning the will of God, that we're giving our lives over to God. Hallowed be thy name, that we're asking for God's kingdom to be done, God's will to be done here on earth, to forgive us, to take us out of trial, to rescue us from evil. And I imagine that as Jesus was there in the garden praying about God taking the cup from him, but it being God's will, not his will, that this might have been some of the words that he was praying, that he was praying the prayer that he told his disciples that they ought to pray. And so we focus on that prayer today. And all of the ways in which that prayer brings us to a depth of seeking God's way, rather than our way. And as we go through this week, you know, we start tomorrow, Sunday, this Holy Week, this last week of Jesus' life. I invite you to pray that prayer every day this week. Pray that prayer every day in seeking God's will over your will. God bless. Have a great day.